Another quick question for you. I think I know the answer to this one too, but how important is it to wash with hot water? Where I work, that's often an issue getting access to hot water.
Great question. So, and it actually streams into virology, which makes me excited and happy. From a COVID-19 perspective, in particular, washing with hot water is not the issue. So as long as your soap foams with whatever temperature water you have, and it actually is able to become a foaming soap to a certain extent, you don't need to have hot water. The way that the actual soap disrupts the virus is through its fatty membrane. It disrupts and puts little holes in the fatty membrane, which is not temperature dependent. And therefore, it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold water for the purposes of getting your hands clean. And the only reason I talk about a reasonable amount of foam is that it allows you to get in between and into cracks and crevices sometimes that may be harder to get into. And so soap works whether it's hot or cold water. So it's the soap that's important, not the temperature of the water for this particular virus. That's not true of all viruses and all infections, but for this one, it's true.
And then just to try to turn if a scenario where you don't have access to a sink or water and you have to use a hand sanitizer, can you talk a little bit about what are the right hand sanitizers to use? Like, say you're hiking in a mountain or you're on public transportation, and how often you should do it and how you should do that?
So the frequency part is frequent from my perspective. If you have delicate or sensitive skin that's going to get really dry with the use of hand sanitizers very frequently, make sure you keep a small amount of unscented and not too heavy hand lotion with you in order to keep your hand and skin integrity intact. But the hand sanitizer itself, if you don't have access to running water and soap, should contain an alcohol. And there are two main types of alcohols. Who knew, right? We just thought there was one. Nope. Ethanol is one of the ones that's very commonly in hand sanitizers, and it has to be greater than 60% ethanol to be effective against this virus. If it's another sneaky alcohol that has a longer and more complex name called isopropyl alcohol, isopropanol, then that one should be greater than 70%. It's all about the structure of the actual alcohol molecule and how it works. So read carefully on the side of the hand sanitizer. I prefer one that has enough texture to it to stay on my hands, to get all over my hands. The very, very, very thin ones that don't have a little bit of structure to them, just pure alcohol, kind of slide off your hands really fast, but they are still way more useful than no sanitizer at all. So I would usually go with a commercial one if it's available that has a little bit of that aloe vera in it. And there's great recipes on the CDC website if we run out of alcohol hand sanitizers again and we have to make our own. You can buy the high level alcohols from some of the distilleries. And you can actually get certain kinds of aloe vera, and the CDC has a great recipe for adding the aloe vera in small amounts to give it some texture so that it actually stays on your hands long enough to do the coating and includes those thumbs you don't want to miss.